What if every crisis you've lived through was designed to make someone else rich, not designed by conspiracy, not planned in smoke-filled rooms, but designed by the architecture of the system itself? A system that turns your panic into their profit, your desperation into their opportunity, your loss into their fortune. March 2020. The world locks down. Pandemic declared. Stock market crashes 34% in 23 days. The fastest collapse in history. Retirement accounts evaporate. Small businesses close forever. 40 million Americans file for unemployment. And in that moment of absolute terror, billionaires made $5 trillion. $5 trillion. While you were afraid, while you were struggling, while millions died, they got richer than any humans in history. How? The answer isn't complicated. It's just uncomfortable. Because it reveals something we've been taught never to question. The idea that wealth comes from work. That fortunes are built through innovation and risk. That the system rewards those who deserve it. But what if none of that is true? What if the greatest wealth in history was extracted through something far simpler? Timing, access, and the willingness to profit from suffering. Let's go back. 2008, the financial crisis, banks collapsing, housing market destroyed, Lehman Brothers fails, Bear Stearns disappears, Washington Mutual gone. The largest bankruptcies in American history happening in real time. Credit freezes, the economy stops, and everyone panics. 9 million people lose their jobs. 14 million lose their homes, families destroyed, lives shattered. Suicide rates spike. The American dream dies on television while talking heads debate whose fault it is. And while that happens, while the world burns, the wealthy do something extraordinary. They buy. Warren Buffett calls it being greedy when others are fearful. Invests $5 billion in Goldman Sachs during the panic. $13 billion total in financial stocks. Makes billions. Not from building anything. Not from creating jobs. From buying assets when desperate people had to sell. From having capital when others had none. From knowing the government would save the system because the system serves people exactly like him. And he was right. $700 billion in bailouts announced. But that's just what they told you. The Federal Reserve secretly injected $16 trillion into the financial system. $16 trillion. Nearly printed money given to the banks that caused the collapse, at interest rates near zero, so they could buy distressed assets from the very people they destroyed. Do you see it yet, the pattern? Crisis creates desperation. Desperation forces sales. Those with capital buy everything at the bottom. Government steps in to protect asset values. Markets recover, and wealth transfers upward, every single time. It's not capitalism, it's extraction. A built-in mechanism that periodically vacuums wealth from the many to the few. And crisis is the trigger. But 2008 wasn't the first time. Not even close. This game has been running for centuries. And every generation thinks they're the first to notice. 1929. The Great Depression. Stock market crashes. Banks fail. Dust Bowl. Unemployment hits 25%. Absolute devastation. Breadlines. Shanty towns called Hoovervilles. The worst economic disaster in modern history. And who emerged wealthier? The Rockefellers, the Kennedys, the Morgans. They'd bought America during the collapse, bought it cheap, owned it when recovery came. Joseph Kennedy made millions short-selling stocks before the crash, then bought everything at rock bottom. Distressed assets, failed businesses, real estate nobody wanted. His fortune built on national suffering. His son became president. American royalty born from American tragedy. Or go further back, 1815. Battle of Waterloo, Europe at war. Nathan Rothschild in London. He gets word that Wellington defeated Napoleon before anyone else. Before the government, before the public. And he uses that information to manipulate British bond markets, spreads rumors of defeat. Prices crash, he buys everything, then the truth comes out. Wellington won. Prices soar. Rothschild makes a fortune. The family becomes one of the wealthiest dynasties in history, all from information advantage during crisis. This is the real history they don't teach. Wealth isn't created through work. It's extracted through position, through access, through being ready when everyone else is desperate. If you're feeling uncomfortable right now, good, stay with me, because what comes next will change everything. Subscribe now. Fast forward to COVID, March 2020. Markets crashing, but something interesting happens. In February, before lockdowns were announced, before markets collapsed, several U.S. senators sold millions in stocks. Richard Burr, Kelly Loeffler, Dianne Feinstein. They attended classified briefings about the pandemic, knew how bad it would get, and instead of warning the public, they protected their portfolios. Insider trading? Technically debatable. Ethically bankrupt? Absolutely. But here's what matters. They weren't alone. Major investors, hedge funds, corporate executives, all seemed to position perfectly before the crash. Almost like they knew, almost like someone told them. And when the crash came, they bought everything. Jeff Bezos added $70 billion to his wealth during the pandemic. Elon Musk gained $140 billion. Mark Zuckerberg $40 billion. While small businesses died. While people couldn't pay rent, while families buried loved ones. The wealthiest humans on Earth became incomprehensibly richer. But they didn't steal it. That's the genius. They played by the rules. Rules written by people just like them. Rules that ensure crisis always benefits those with capital, always punishes those without. Think about the psychology. When crisis hits, what do you feel? Fear. Your instinct is to protect what little you have, hold cash, avoid risk, because you can't afford to lose. You have bills, responsibilities, survival needs. Your margin for error is zero. But when you're a billionaire, crisis is Christmas. You don't fear loss because you can't actually lose. If one investment fails, you have 100 others. You can be bold when others must be cautious. Patient when others are desperate. And that asymmetry is how wealth compounds. It's like playing poker with someone who has infinite chips. Even if you're more skilled, they'll eventually win because they can afford to wait to outlast you, to strike when you're weakest. And that's exactly what happened during COVID. The Federal Reserve printed $5 trillion, called it stimulus, but where did it go? Not to unemployed workers, not to closed businesses. It went into financial markets, through bond purchases, lending facilities, money that inflated stock prices, real estate, assets, the things rich people own. Your stimulus check was $1,200, maybe $2,400 if you waited. Their stimulus was $5 trillion pumped directly into markets, and they call it saving the economy. But whose economy? Because regular people don't own stocks, don't own real estate portfolios, don't live on assets. They live on wages, and wages didn't inflate. Only prices did. That's the transfer mechanism. Print money, inflate assets. The wealthy get richer. Your dollar buys less, your rent increases. Groceries cost more, but their portfolios explode. Invisible theft, legal robbery, and nobody goes to jail because it's not a crime. It's policy. Would you trust a system that profits some people from your suffering? Here's what they don't want you to understand. This isn't a bug, it's the feature. The system is designed to periodically concentrate wealth through manufactured or exploited chaos. Every crisis accelerates inequality. And the next crisis is already being positioned. Look at what's happening now. 2025. National debt at $37 trillion. Inflation still elevated. Interest rates manipulated. Housing unaffordable. The average American can't buy a home, can't save for retirement. Lives paycheck to paycheck, while billionaires accumulate, while the gap widens, while the game continues. And when the next crisis comes, and it will come, the pattern repeats. Markets crash. You panic. They buy. Government bails out assets. Recovery happens. They win again. It's predictable, reliable, inevitable, unless you see it. Unless you understand it, unless you refuse to keep playing a game rigged against you from the start. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most won't do anything. They'll watch this, feel angry, maybe share it. Then tomorrow, back to the routine, working, saving small amounts, hoping retirement works out. Because changing requires accepting that everything you believed about success is a lie. And that's too painful for most people. The American dream says work hard and you'll prosper. But prosperity isn't built through labor anymore. It's built through ownership, capital, assets. And if you don't have capital when crisis strikes, you're the fuel that feeds their fortune. During COVID, Amazon's stock soared. Zoom became worth billions. Netflix thrived. Why? Because lockdowns forced everyone into digital services owned by billionaires. They didn't just survive the crisis. They positioned themselves to capture the future during it, while small businesses begged for scraps. $600 billion in small business loans. Sounds generous. But Amazon alone gained $700 billion in value during the same period. One company gained more than the entire small business rescue package, and much of those loans? Given to companies that didn't need them, while small businesses died anyway. The system chose winners, and it chose them. Think about that. The wealth isn't created, it's transferred. From your closed business to their expanded empire. From your lost job to their increased profits. From your desperation to their opportunity. It's not growth, it's consolidation. The rich don't just get richer. They absorb everything else in the process. And nobody's held accountable. No trials, no investigations, no consequences. Because this isn't corruption. It's the system working as designed. Extraction dressed up as economics, so what do? Rage against it? Opt out? Accept it as inevitable? Or learn to play with eyes open? Most people won't even get this far. They'll dismiss it as conspiracy, as envy, as misunderstanding how markets work. They'll defend billionaires they'll never become, protect a system that extracts from them. Because admitting the game is rigged means admitting they've been played. And that's too much. But some of you are different. Some of you see it now. The pattern, the mechanism, the truth hiding in plain sight. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every news story, every market move, every policy decision, you'll see it differently. You'll ask different questions. Who benefits? Who loses? What's really happening here? That's dangerous thinking. Dangerous to them. Because the system only works if most people don't understand it. If they believe the narrative, if they keep working and consuming and hoping while wealth flows upward. But when enough people see clearly, when enough people refuse to accept the unacceptable, that's when change becomes possible. $5 trillion made during a pandemic. Millions dead. Economies destroyed. And the rich got richer. That's not an accident. That's not market forces. That's a system. And systems can be changed. But it requires you to care. To act. To stop defending those who profit from your loss. To demand something different. Something fair. Something human. The power isn't with them. It never was. Power is with understanding. With collective awareness. With people choosing to see reality instead of comfortable lies. And you're seeing now. The question is, what will you do about it? Will you go back to sleep? Back to the routine? Or will you stay awake? Keep questioning? Keep seeing? Because the next crisis is coming. Maybe next year. Maybe 5 years. But it's coming. And when it does, they'll do it again. Unless enough people understand. Unless enough people refuse to be the source of their profit anymore. This isn't about hating success. It's about understanding how real wealth is actually made, not through innovation, not through hard work, through crisis, through extraction, through systems designed to concentrate wealth during chaos, wealth without work. That's the secret. And now, if this changed how you see the world, you need to see what comes next, because we're going deeper. The next episode reveals the specific mechanisms being put in place right now for the next great transfer. The crisis they're already positioning for, and how you can protect yourself when it comes. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because what we expose next will make everything else look like preparation. The end game is being set, and you need to see it before it's too late. See you on the other side.